So what do I mean by the secret spells of the English language? Well, let me share with you what I call our premier life sentence. And it goes something like this. We awake each morning and go off during the weekdays to earn the living at various jobs and undertakings until we come to the weekend. And this seems perfectly acceptable to most people. However, more people die between 6 and 9 on a Monday morning than any other time of the week. So I do what I call a translation of the English language, and I spell that T-R-A-N-C-E with the idea that words cast spells. So when you translate that life sentence, you remember that awake is a funeral party for the dead. Mourning is the state you're in when you attend a wake. And you would have to be in a weekdays to earn the living, since urns are for the ashes of the dead. We call our jobs undertakings. Job itself is a Hebrew word for persecuted. And what we get at the end of this perverse bargain with life is the weak end of the deal as we become progressively weakened ourselves. And so our most prevalent greeting to each other is hello, the reverse of which is, oh, hell. And at first, I suspected the hands of collusion entangling the language to foster illusion. And I think it's quite true that a culture's theology has a great deal to do with a word's etymology and how it evolves over time to combine incompatible meanings that may undermine the original thoughts it was meant to define. But now, I don't think it's planned, for the thing that I've found is that like concepts can gravitate toward the same sound and vibrate at the rate that our thoughts designate. Because words are electromagnetic vibrations whose fine alphabetic tintinnabulations can take on the tint of our true expectations, which they then imprint on our metal of mind, causing sounds to adhere when they're of the same kind.
That's kind of an interesting perspective, I think. The English language, it's all in spells, and you put it together in sentences. What is a sentence? What happens when you get sentenced to jail, or sentenced to prison, or sentenced to a belief because it's written down? And when beliefs are written down, they're open to interpretation. That's the thing. So if you can put down all your programming, and everybody's programmed, folks, so many people are programmed. Whether it's New Age programming, whether it's political programming, whether it's religious programming, all of them are control mechanisms. All of them are based on spells. Looking at the New Age movement and religion, both of them are control mechanisms, especially modern versions of Christianity. And a lot of Christians won't like me saying that. But hey, if you can just put down your belief systems for a minute, I think there's a lot to be learned by looking at things from a slightly different perspective. And a lot of what I want to talk about today is probably going to freak a lot of people out. Sorry. COVID, folks. Bad case of COVID today. It's probably going to freak a lot of people out simply because of their interpretation of certain words and their belief of what certain words mean and what they refer to, especially in a religious context. But when you look at the Bible, really, if you're a devout Christian and you want to believe in the Bible, then you should take it back to its original source. I mean, the Bible was originally presented to us as the Word of God. And the key there is Word of God. Not the words of God, but the Word of God. Because what we've got, I mean, we've got translations and interpretations. The original Bible appeared in Hebrew, then it was translated into Greek. The Essenes had a Bible as well. And then that was translated, the Greek version was translated into Latin, and from Latin it was translated into English. But what was lost in the translations is the question. What was lost in the translations of arcane texts? And what can be lost? And what happens when arcane texts are mistranslated? You know, for all the good in the Bible, once it gets to the English version, it's kind of been changed. It really has. This has been done by the Jesuits, the Vatican. You know, most people in the English world will say, well, if you really want to know what's going on and you really want to get the right Bible, you should read the King James Version of the Bible. And no offense to anybody, but, you know, like, the King? Seriously? Look at the history of the British royal family and you're actually seriously asking me to trust the King. Why would the King be putting things out that, you know, people needed to hear? Fuck the King.